It was nearly noon. Sergeant Colin had taken the new recruits down to the archery butts in Butt Street. Vimes went on patrol with Carrot. He felt something inside him bubbling over. Something was brushing the tips of his corroded but nevertheless still active instincts, trying to draw attention to itself. He had to be on the move. It was all that Carrot could do to keep up. There were trainee assassins in the streets around the guild, still sweeping up debris. "Assassins in daylight," snarled Vimes. "I'm amazed they don't turn to dust." "That's vampires, sir," said Carrot. "Heh, you're right. Assassins and licensed thieves and bloody vampires. You know, this was a great old city once, lad." Unconsciously, they fell into step, proceeding. "When we had kings, sir?" "Kings? Kings? Hell no!" A couple of assassins looked around in surprise. "I'll tell you," said Vimes. "A monarch's an absolute ruler, right? The head honcho." "Unless he's a queen," said Carrot. Vimes glared at him, and then nodded. "Okay, or the head honchoette." "No, that'd only apply if she was a young woman. Queens tend to be older. She'd have to be a honcherina? No, that's for very young princesses. A honchessa, I think." Vimes paused. There was something in the air in the city, he thought. If the creator had said, "Let there be light," in Ankh-Morpork, he'd have got no further because of all the people saying, "What color?" "The supreme ruler, okay," he said, starting to stroll forward again. "Okay? But that's not right, see? One man with the power of life and death." "But if he's a good man," Carrot began. "What? What? Okay. Let's believe he's a good man. But his second in command, is he a good man too? You'd better hope so, because he's the supreme ruler too. And the rest of the court, they've got to be good men. Because if just one of them's a bad man, the result is bribery and patronage." "The patrician's a supreme ruler," Carrot pointed out. He nodded at a passing troll. "G'day, Mr. Carbuncle." "But he doesn't wear a crown or sit on a throne, and he doesn't tell you it's right that he should rule," said Vimes. "I hate the bastard. But he's honest. Honest like a corkscrew." "Even so, a good man is king." "Yes? And then what? Royalty pollutes people's minds, boy. Honest men start bowing and bobbing just because someone's granddad was a bigger murdering bastard than theirs was. Listen, we probably had good kings once, but kings breed other kings, and blood tells, and you end up with a bunch of arrogant murdering bastards, chopping off queens' heads and fighting their cousins every 5 minutes. And we had centuries of that. And then one day, a man said, 'No more kings!' And we rose up, and we fought the bloody nobles, and we dragged the king off his throne, and dragged him into Sata Square, and we chopped his bloody head off! Job well done!" "Wow," said Carrot. "Who was he?" "Who?" "The man who said, 'No more kings.'" People were staring. Vimes' face went from the red of anger to the red of embarrassment. There was little difference in the shading, however. "No, he was commander of the city guard in those days," he mumbled. "They called him Old Stoneface." "Never heard of him," said Carrot. "He, doesn't appear much in the history books," said Vimes. "Sometimes there has to be a civil war, and sometimes, afterwards, it's best to pretend something didn't happen. Sometimes people have to do a job, and then they have to be forgotten. He wielded the axe, you know. No one else would do it. It was a king's neck, after all. Kings are," he spat the word, "special. Even after they'd seen the private rooms and cleaned up the bits. Even then, no one would clean up the world, but he took the axe and cursed them all and did it." "What king was it?" said Carrot. "Lorenzo the Kind," said Vimes distantly. "I've seen his picture in the Palace Museum," said Carrot. "A fat old man, surrounded by lots of children." "Oh yes," said Vimes carefully. "He was very fond of children." Carrot waved at a couple of dwarfs. "I didn't know this," he said. "I thought there was just some wicked rebellion or something." Vimes shrugged. "It's in the history books, if you know where to look." And that was the end of the kings of Ankh-Morpork. Oh, there was a surviving son, I think, and a few mad relatives. They were banished.
That's supposed to be a terrible fate for royalty. I can't see it myself.
I think I can. And you like the city, sir?
Well, yes. But if it was a choice between banishment and having my head chopped off, just help me down with a suitcase. No, we're well rid of kings. But I mean, the city used to work.
Still does, said Carrot. They passed the Assassin's Guild and drew level with the high, forbidding walls of the Fool's Guild, which occupied the other corner of the block.
No, it just keeps going. I mean, look up there.
Carrot obediently raised his gaze. There was a familiar building on the junction of Broadway and Alchemist. The facade was ornate, but covered in grime. Gargoyles had colonized it. The corroded motto over the portico said, "Neither rain nor snow, nor glom of neat, can stay these messengers about their duty." And in more spacious days, that may have been the case. But recently, someone had found it necessary to nail up an addendum which read, "Don't ask us about rocks, trolls with sticks, all sorts of dragons, Mrs. Cake, huge green things with teeth, any kind of black dogs with orange eyebrows, reigns of spaniels, fog, Mrs. Cake." "Oh," he said, "the Royal Mail."
"The post office," corrected Vimes. "My granddad said that once you could post a letter there, and it'd be delivered within a month, without fail. You didn't have to give it to a passing dwarf and hope the little bugger wouldn't eat it before."
His voice trailed off.
Sorry. No offense meant."
"None taken," said Carrot cheerfully.
"It's not that I've got anything against dwarfs. I've always said you'd have to look very hard before you'd find a better bunch of highly skilled, law-abiding, hard-working—"
"Little buggers?"
"Yes. No!"
They proceeded. "That Mrs. Cake," said Carrot, "definitely a strong-minded woman, eh?"
"Too true," said Vimes.
Something crunched under Carrot's enormous sandal. "More glass," he said. "It went a long way, didn't it?"
"Exploding dragons. What an imagination the girl has."
"Woof, woof," said a voice behind them.
"That damned dog's been following us," said Vimes.
"It's barking at something on the wall," said Carrot. Gaspode eyed them coldly. "Woof, woof, bloody whine, he said. "Are you bloody blind or what?" It was true that normal people couldn't hear Gaspode speak because dogs don't speak. It's a well-known fact. It's well known at the organic level, like a lot of other well-known facts which overrule the observations of the senses. This is because if people went around noticing everything that was going on all the time, no one would get anything done. This is another survival trait. Besides, almost all dogs don't talk. Ones that do are merely a statistical error, and can therefore be ignored. However, Gaspode had found he did tend to get heard on a subconscious level. Only the previous day, someone had absent-mindedly kicked him into the gutter, and had gone a few steps before they suddenly thought, "I'm a bastard one, am I?" "There is something up there," said Carrot. "Look, something blue, hanging off that gargoyle." "Woof, woof, woof. Would you credit it?" Vimes stood on Carrot's shoulders and walked his hand up the wall, but the little blue strip was still out of reach. The gargoyle rolled a stony eye towards him.
"Do you mind?" said Vimes. "It's hanging on your ear."
With a grinding of stone on stone, the gargoyle reached up a hand and unhooked the intrusive material.
"Thank you."
Vimes climbed down again. "You like gargoyles, don't you, Captain?" said Carrot as they strode away.
"Yep. They may only be a kind of troll, but they keep themselves to themselves and seldom go below the first floor and don't commit crimes anyone ever finds out about. My type of people."
He unfolded the strip. It was a collar, or at least what remained of a collar. It was burnt at both ends. The word chubby was just readable through the suit.
"The devils," said Vimes. "They did blow up a dragon."